Shirt show. All right, let's go.
Shirt show! Talking shirt! It's shirt show! Talking shirt! It's shirt show! Talking shirt! It's shirt show! Talking shirt, man! All right! Episode 144 of Shirt Show! We're talking with Jon from Black Dog Printing in Indiana. Let's go!
Yo.
What's cooking good looking?
Hey, I like your quarter zip.
Yeah.
What kind is that?
It's a hefty Carhartt hoodie. I'm a real worker.
Facts.
Hmm.
Is that like from Sanmar or did you get it at Carhartt store?
Yeah, Samar. I ain't buying that shit full price.
I feel that.
I ain't made of money over here.
So it's flowing like wine here. What's it like upstate?
Molasses. flowing like maple syrup on a cold day.
I love maple syrup though. So I don't know. Maybe
trees are tapped. Trees are tapped up here. It's just not warm enough yet.
Well, you're almost in Canada. I mean, I get it.
A lot of syrup.
Well, that sucks. I thought for sure like
it's a little better. It's like a slow. That's what I mean. It's like a maple syrup on a cold day. It's like coming in, but it's not like I got hit with it. It's like I sat there with my mouth open for a while, just waiting for it to come down.
That's what she said.
Yeah.
Oh, check. By the way, shit.
Did she say that to you?
I'm sorry. Hey, curious, did you receive your top secret beta?
I did.
Yet? And are you, because I haven't.
Still in the box.
Okay, well, we opened it and it has a plug, but we don't have the right power yet. Like to the press. We have power to the press for like plugging shit in, but this is a 220. And it's different, it's a different fitting than like our hothead was and all that kind of shit. So,
yeah,
gonna work on that. I have to get Bobby is my electrician, my go-to. And I called him and he's like, can't make it there this week. Like shit.
That's cool.
Yeah, we're excited. Like, I want to see. I don't think it's ever been used on plastisol. So who knows? Like maybe it doesn't work.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
What else is new?
I'm gonna look around here and see if I spot anything.
Spot anything new real quick?
Right. I don't know. I think that what else is new? So we sold our Speedy Tee. I put it up. I can't remember how
Did they pick it up or did you ship it?
We shipped it yesterday. You should have seen like the end result. You know what it's like creating stuff just on our own.
It's a fucking nightmare.
It's a nightmare, but it was ugly. Like at first, it started out like the ugliest creating job you've ever seen, but very functional. Like it was going to do the job. Like you're like, you saw it and you're like, man, that thing's fucking created, but it didn't look pretty until the end because we went to Harbor Freight, bought moving blankets, like $7 or whatever it is, and wrapped the whole thing in moving blankets, and then pallet wrapped you want the plastic, like 100 times, and that shit is like solid.
You know what's funny is like I fucking hate selling used stuff because of that. Because of like, I sold the dryer once. I've told the story. I sold the dryer once, and the fucking FedEx annihilated it. Like they dropped it off the truck. Crushed it, everything. And it's like the last like 2 times I've sold something, I don't know, kind of small. So if you're going to buy something from me, if you're listening to this, don't just pick it up.
Don't do it.
Just don't. Because I just fucking like put it on a pallet and I'll go buy ratchet straps and I'll just ratchet strap it to the pallet and call it good.
So that's what we did. We ratchet strapped it, but we also put boards because it's on casters and stuff. And so we kind of put boards so that it can't move. It's like it's on there really, really good.
Yeah.
He's going to be really, when it shows up, his mind's going to be blown on how good
it's like our good friend Nikki
Yeah.
is buying my old air compressor. So like that, I don't want to fuck around with it. I told her straight up, like, you know, I would love it if you pick this up, but I will ship it because it's you or whatever. So I had my dad like custom make a 2x6 heavy duty as fuck like pallet to put it on.
Oh God.
So like I put it on the pallet and we like lagged it down, and it's like, it's solid. Like there should be no issues with this fucking thing.
Only thing is it weighs like 7 trillion pounds.
Exactly. It is so heavy. And it was the biggest nightmare to get on the pallet because I don't have a forklift. So like literally we jacked it up with a pallet jack in the middle, got it up just enough to get one side of it on the pallet. And the pallet, we had to put a piece of 3/4 plywood down so that we could slide it on the pallet. So we ratchet strapped one end of the pallet to the air compressor and then just cranked little by little, pulling the air compressor onto the pallet.
Wow. That's a good idea.
It fucking sucked. But it's on there. It's ready to go for the most part. So I need to like contact somebody to come put it in a truck.
I remember selling you like a dozen pallets. I packed it. Whoa. Hold on. I packed it beautifully. We could have shipped it around the world 100 times. But for whatever reason, you got 9.
Exactly.
You know, and I don't think I ever refunded you the money.
It's cool.
I got full payment, you know, which was sweet. Good
like
for me.
I paid you, got 9 in, called you and was like, hey, what the hell? How come I only got 9? And you were like, not my fucking problem. Hung up on me.
That's right.
And then I called action and ordered 3 more pallets.
Well, when you buy stuff from us, that's our policy. You know, if it doesn't show up,
you get what you get.
Fucking problem.
It says you get what you get. Don't throw a fit at the bottom of every invoice.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's catchy. Yeah. I don't know what else. Like, what's new up there?
Not a whole lot really shop wise, but we did I was out sick last week for 2 days with a fever. And then I think I called you during my fever, like in bed naked. Because you had a meeting with Christina.
Oh, that was a FaceTime. Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I can't make this shit. I'm gonna die. And then this week, well, yesterday, I took the crew, my key guys, we went to Pennsylvania and we went and visited Ron and saw his like upgrades.
Yeah, he has a new add-on, like an addition.
Which was super fucking funny story. Like, I'm gonna botch it because the way Ron tells it is hilarious. But like, Ron's like me, where like his building is right next door to like the town office. You know, like their
like the city hall,
like
or
the
something?
city hall hub thing for his town. And the code enforcer's there. Like that's where his place is. It's the same thing for me. Literally right next door is the town office with the code guy. And Ron said that he had the concrete company come to like pour the pad for the thing. And the code guy saw the truck coming in and was like, what the hell? And like came over and said to Ron, like, hey, what are you doing? Like, what's going on? And he was just like, oh, I just need to like pour a pad here because it's wet. And, you know, we have like, I have to keep putting tents up for like stuff and I needed like a thing. So like, all right, whatever, you know, like I need you to at least like fill out a form for, you know, code, whatever. So Ron fills it out. He says he does like a quick sketch of what he might put up. He said like I might put up like a car bay thing to just like keep shit out of the rain or whatever. And I guess he like sketched up this quick like this is where this is gonna go. Paid his $50, whatever. And like literally 2 days later, a fucking steel building gets built and bolted to the ground. And like the best part about it is the guy came back over and was like, what the hell? You said it was like on order and you might like you might put up a building. And the best part was it was custom painted to match Ron's logos.
Right. I saw that. Like blue and black. And
Ron told the guy that he like may be able to get one if they have one in stock. And the guy came over. He's like, it's fucking custom painted. Like, obviously you ordered this already. And he got away with it, it was just super funny. But yeah, he's got, he also has one of those new color reels, those embroidery machines.
Oh,
that dyes the thread. Every time I go in there, he's got like 3 new pieces of equipment. It's insane.
I love that.
He's growing like a motherfucker.
Yeah, we don't have any new equipment, although our our shuttle presses shipped from China on the 17th. I don't know how long it takes. Is like a 3-week thing, or
did you do air or ground, or air or sea?
oh my God, I have no idea. You could do air? That seems expensive.
Air was more expensive. Sea took like 2 months for me to get mine.
No, don't tell me that.
Yeah, it took a while.
I didn't know there was a choice. Like I didn't put on there.
Yeah. I think air is like a week, and then like sea is like 3 to 4 weeks or something.
Okay. Well, I can wait 3 or 4 weeks.
Yeah.
It's almost that.
Yeah.
Happy March, by the way.
It should give you a trekking where, yeah, I know. Fucking March already.
Mm-hmm.
We also went to see Cold Cuts almost to Philly.
What's that? I don't know.
He's another shop. Yeah, it's just Cold Cuts merch. They do a lot of band stuff. They do a lot of like merch stores, and it's a lot of like hardcore music and stuff like that. But he's been a buddy, and his shop is super awesome. A lot like ours vibe wise. But it was cool to see like his place and the organization of all the fulfillment stuff and what they do. And we reminisced about band days and stuff because we've seen them play, and he's in a hardcore band and stuff. So it was cool to just hang out for the day, and went to like a late lunch dinner thing at like a local hole in the wall place. Super awesome.
And you ordered Cold Cuts?
I ordered a Philly and cheese fries and pierogies.
Sounds delicious.
Oh, it was delicious. And then we drove 3 hours home. So it was a good day.
Nice field trip.
Mm-hmm.
We need to do something like that. We've never done it. Like not one time have we, like as a shop production wise, went to a different shop.
It's really cool because like me and you have a perspective because we do it all the time. Like we visit shops, but taking your crew who just is in your shop doing the things in your place all the time, and then never get the perspective of like how some other place does it. And then you take them there and like they take nuggets from every place, and they're like, they see something and they're inspired, or they're like, oh, I want to put that into place, or, I want to do this or that. Or they're just like, oh, I'm really appreciative of our place. You know what I mean? Like, oh, yeah, our place is, whatever. So like, it just gives them like, I'm really proud of what I'm doing feeling. So I think that alone is worth it. Like, yeah, yesterday is me and my buddies dicking around, but it's also like really good for work. Like it's, you get stuff out of it for sure.
Yeah. Perspective is great. Yeah.
And plus you're like in the car with your 3 top managers for 6 hours. You're talking over things, like it was basically like a 6-hour meeting of like, what can we do to improve? What can we do to do this? And I don't know, it's just a good time. I recommend it if you guys can go somewhere. Like, I don't know who's near you where you guys could just go on a day trip.
There's a lot of shops, but I would say most likely most of the St. Louis shops don't want you in there. It's like especially maybe like I could as just one person, but if you're bringing like a team in, they'd be like, what the fuck?
Like studying you basically.
Yeah. So I think we would have to go outside of our 50-mile radius or something, like you did, when you went to basically Philly, right? Because that's a 3-hour drive. And so then I think it's fine because, you're not really
I'm not going to somebody in my backyard. Yeah.
Yeah. So
which is funny because like my SNS rep was here the other day and we were bullshitting. And it's funny, like the difference between SNS and Broder. Like Broder will show up, and she's a great lady. Like there's nothing against her at all, but like she shows up with like stacks of catalogs. She has like a rolling rack she brings in the building with like all the fucking samples on it. And then SNS dude just literally walks into my office and sits on my couch and like puts his feet up and is like, "What's up, dude?" Like, you know what I mean? And I appreciate the SNS guy. Like just walking in and is like, "What do you need?" I'm here to help. He doesn't come in and like check out all these new items. And like, it's just like, he knows already that I don't give a fuck. He's just like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, all right. But we were talking about that because I was asking him, I'm like, where else are you going today? And he was like, this place. I was like, I didn't even know that place existed. This place, I don't think they would let me in the door and whatever. It's just kind of like, I think you're right though. Like that, like 25 to 50 mile radius around you, like, I don't know how inviting they would be to let me in.
I think most most here wouldn't, would be the same way if a shop owner comes by, cool, but if he brings his team, it just feels weird.
And they got like notepads and shit.
Yeah, taking pictures.
Right.
But if you're from out of state or something, then by all means, yeah, stop on by. Let's hang out.
Yeah.
I don't know. It all starts with a screen, and whether it is new stretches or restretches, Frank and his team do it the best. To find out more, go to graphicscreenfashion.com, FFFFF.
Rank.com.
Or
greatfuckingscreens.com.
cleaning screens is no fun, but EasyWay makes it funner. Their line of eco-friendly chemicals will make reclaiming screens a whole lot easier. Check them out at easyway.com. EasyWay.
It's the easiest way.
I don't know why I did that, but it just felt right.
You want me to do one of these? Sick, bro.
Yep. Hey, if your art department could use some love, then you need to go to 1-900hotstuff.com and get in touch with Nick or Lucas at GraphX Source and make them your source for production ready. Sauce. Yeah, that's it.
They're your source for saucy sauce.
Yeah, and if you need some art, then maybe get some art.
Yeah, on the side.
Choosing the right emulsion for your shop is complicated, and that's why we love Chromaline. Go to chromaline.com to watch Kev's vids or contact him on IG. That stands for Instagram. at the emulsion. At the emulsion. I got you. At the Emulsion Guru. Well, yeah, that's what it is. And get the answers you need.
Mm-hmm. If he's not too busy being on vacation with his family, which seems to be like every other week.
You must be Facebook friends with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He does. I'll give it to him. He loves his family and he loves traveling.
He works hard, but he lives harder. He parties hard with his family.
Yeah. And by party, you mean go to like Disney World or something?
Yeah.
Okay, well, look, there's a pretty radical change going on in our industry right now with those high color count, low quantity orders. Shops are switching to a DTF screen print transfer solution, and you need a partner that can get you quality transfers fast.
Yes.
Howard Custom Transfers has 20 plus years of experience. They offer same-day service for single color transfers, and they're amazing people.
Hell yeah, they are.
Go check out Howard Custom Transfer at howardct.com. Order a free sample pack and see for yourself.
Hell yeah.
That was long, but I think I did it.
We got it all in there. There's too much. Like, in all honesty, there's too much to list for them. There's just so much offerings.
We could just do the whole episode. Yeah.
We need to do an episode with them.
We wrote that together though. And it was a hybrid of both of our things. And it just, yeah.
Mostly you though.
No.
I put most of yours in there.
That's what she said. Don't put any of this because we're talking about Howard and they're new, and
they would love it. They would love it. That's the best part. That is the best fucking part is that they are like us. They would laugh. Mm-hmm. They would get it.
Okay.
That's why we fucking picked them.
All right. Well, today we're chatting with Jon. I don't want to say his last name. Can you say it?
I don't even know what it is.
Okay. How would you pronounce this? Ready? Bottorff.
Bottoff?
Bottorff. Bottorff.
Sure.
Bottorff.
I know everybody in the industry by their first name and their shop name. So
Jon.
Yeah. Literally people in my phone, it would be Jon Black Dog.
Mm-hmm. That's how it would be for me too. Yeah. I don't know.
100%. Your last name doesn't matter.
I know some people's last name. Definitely. But like you just said, in my phone, usually it's first name and then the shop.
Yeah. That's it. That's all you get.
So let's just do this. Yeah. Today we're chatting with Jon Black Dog Printing.
Right.
Like that's his last name.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a great last name.
Yeah. And he's from Indiana.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey,
Yo, what's up?
not much.
How are you doing?
It's early.
Do you have like a spotlight on you? It's like I can't even see your face. It's just whited out.
Everything here sucks. This is just a terrible, terrible place. Let me see.
that's pretty
Yay,
good.
Did it?
I've been fucking with this thing for like an hour. I dropped my kid off at 8:30 and come in here and drink coffee in the dark.
Is that
I
your
do the
normal?
same thing.
Yeah.
Like that's your routine, and so you.
Yeah. It's emails and black coffee for like the first 2 hours. Just like turning everything off and getting ready.
Yeah. I do the same thing. I take my kids to school at like 7:15, and then I either go for a walk if it's nice, or I'll come here and I'll just have like silence before employees get here, or I can just like do whatever I want, watch YouTube, have breakfast, whatever. It's just
Yeah. I also in my Xbox, I have another one upstairs. So if there's a campaign or anything going on, I can just go do that.
knock it out.
Isn't it so cool the difference between your shop when like everyone's here and all, like we're printing shirts and embroideries happening, like the whole thing, all those noises, the difference between like that and then when you're there by yourself and it's all quiet, it's so different, like it's I like both, but
it's always funny when people come in and like it's busy and there's just insanity happening and everything's moving all at once. And they're like, this place is nuts, man. I was here like at 10 o'clock dropping off mail or something. Like our mailman takes his break here. He's like, what happened? I'm like, this is pretty good. And this is normal. This is what we want.
Your mailman eats lunch there?
Yeah. He's just this big metalhead. And he's pretty rad. He just comes in and he's like, man, I found these bands, man. Check them out. And I'll put them on Spotify. I'll add them to our shop list.
That's awesome. So what's going on there? What's you got work today, or are you kind of chill with stuff right now? Like we're slow as shit. So
yeah, no, it's been slow, but we have a rush job to do today for a college.
nice.
Yeah, no, I charged them like $600 for 30 shirts, so we're pretty stoked. We needed it.
Yeah. We've been getting a couple of those where people are like, can you fit this in? Can you get it done? And I'm like, I could do that tomorrow. Like, it's okay. Like, and then you feel weird. Like they're like, should we charge a rush for this? And I'm like, I mean, normally, yeah, but right now we could just do it because we can do it. Like, don't worry about it. But a college has money. You shouldn't feel bad about taking their money.
No, and we work with them a lot, and all the guys that like place the orders and handle the money for it, they're like, charge us as much as you want. Like, it's not my money. I don't care. And they waste it anyways. So I'm like, okay, that's fine.
Okay, sounds good.
I wish every customer was like that.
I know that they're pretty good, except it's Earlham College, and it's this Quaker college. They're like really fantastic on everything. They have no graphic design department at their school. So the majority of time we get like a hand-drawn piece of paper that we have to scan with a printer and then redraw. It's fantastic.
And then you charge them for the artwork?
Yeah, we will. I mean, if it's easy, no. I don't.
Yeah.
If it takes 5 minutes, who cares? But
yeah. So you kind of seem like you have an interesting story with what you got going on there. How did you get involved? Like, how did you get into having the printing, or is the building and the tattoo shop, is that all involved with you too? Or is that like, you guys just went in on it together?
The printing is me, and then the tattoos, that's my wife.
Oh, really?
I'm sorry. My kid gave me like some weird bug, like every week. I just
got over it. So
it's awesome. I started printing maybe 17 years ago. I was at IU Bloomington, and I started at the very bottom for minimum wage at like a busy, we had 4 autos, 1 manual. And I started in reclaim for minimum wage and just worked my ass off and just walked around and asked a ton of really dumb questions until they got annoyed with me.
Did you know then that you wanted to do your own thing at some point, or were you just doing that just because you wanted to get more involved?
So I absolutely wanted to do my own thing. I mean, honestly, I'm a terrible employee and working for other people suck. You know, like it's not always fun. And like this is one of those places that like if you stop for like 3 minutes to go over and ask another printer, like, yo, man, did you watch this on TV last night? That was nuts. You were reprimanded. And it was like, this is not fun. This is not a good environment. Nobody's having any fun. It's not enjoyable to be here.
Mm-hmm.
And I just didn't want that. I was like, I bet I could do this and I could do it better. And they're paying me minimum wage to reclaim screens. And they're driving, you know, brand new Lexuses, like Lexus SUVs. I don't know. I just seemed a lot of unfairness of it. And I was just like, I could do this better and I could treat these people better.
Mm-hmm.
We, I think it was in our text group that somebody brought up that, that new thing that I think it's Printavo and Rock. They're going to have the metrics. Yeah. So you can track your press and get metrics from it, you know, pull data. And I was thinking to myself, and there was like a bunch of people talking about it. And so, wouldn't it be cool if you know your press was spinning and how fast, like what were your total impression count for the hour or the day, or is it stopped and that kind of stuff. And honestly, I guess it would be, you know, like the Andrew, we talked about this once before, the Andrew side of me that wants data and wants to say, oh, we should be always printing, you know, if the press isn't spinning, then that's absolute failure. On the flip side of that though, it's not a very chill day. Just like you said, if you're going to stop and if sometimes you need a break and you want to just chat about something and before you get back into it, you know, just like a boxer needs to sit down for a second and catch his breath or her breath. Why does it ruin it? You know, like but tracking data, is that going to just ruin shops, ruin at least the culture and the vibe of a small business? You know
I guess it depends on who's sitting behind all the data and running it. You know, a lot of that, you need that data at some point. You want to know it, but you also don't have to run a sweatshop.
Yeah. I feel like it's a powerful tool to see how you can improve things, if things can be improved, but it shouldn't go against company vibe, company culture, whatever. I don't think you should change things. Like if people are hardworking and happy and whatever, you shouldn't come in with a metric and be like, well, you know, it says here that due to my math and data, we could pump out 5 more jobs today than what you're normally doing. Then like there's something else is wrong. You know what I mean? It's not necessarily like the press or whatever. Like, are they talking too much? Are they doing this or that? But I feel like you still need that happy medium because your employees are just as important, I feel like, as the press, if not more important, because they're the ones that do the shit. So like you have to account their sanity and their happiness in to a degree too. Like you can't just be like, run this fucking thing. Yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like
we have high school like interns that we bring in for like reclaim that like, we work with a lot of the schools and whatnot. And a teacher will hit us up and be like, I got this really weird kid totally into art. I think you guys would love him. And they would come in like, we had one, she just went to Purdue for graphic design and she was fantastic. And we kind of had to get on her and be like, yo, dude, we all love hanging out, but there's like 50 screens that like we need tomorrow and you got to wash them. I mean, like sometimes, you know, you have to be a boss, but at the same time, I tell everybody and everybody knows, like everybody here, we've known each other for a long time and they're adults. They're given tasks, they're given jobs, and they know what they need to do. They know what needs to be done. I don't have to stay on top of them.
They're autonomous to a certain extent. Like you said, they're mature and they understand that there's work that needs to be done. And I
would think so anyway.
Well, normally, you know, like I think that if your whole team understands the direction you're going and the importance, the urgency of getting orders done, and when somebody's slacking, I think that they kind of understand that. And my fear is that if you get that data and you're not careful with it, then I think that you may do exactly what happened to you. I think that there could be burnout and people are like, look, I can't even like take a break to go, chit chat for a second, because part of working here is socializing. I mean, I want it to be part of it, because
that's how we share ideas. That's how art gets passed around. That's how
for sure
we walk around with like, our Procreate tablets and like show each other like, yo, look at this. This is stupid. It's like, that's pretty good.
My argument would be that you would be more productive if you just like chill a little bit and understand that there's times that there's going to be some downtime. That's all. And as long as, it's not, I guess, abused or negligent, then whatever. So I don't know.
You guys have way bigger shops than I do or anything. And I mean, I don't hire people off the street. I never have. So it's probably different for you as, for me. Like,
what do you mean?
I know
you
these
hire
people.
Family or
no, like Brooke, who runs our front desk and everything like that. And we've known her forever. And she worked she has more degrees than all of us here put together for all this like business admin stuff. And she was working for a vet, and she was like, I don't want to do kitten abortions anymore. I hate it. And I'm like, okay. She was like, so now she's here, and she did 2 years of a tattoo apprenticeship, and now she also tattoos when we're slow. So I don't know. Everybody works.
Yeah. I think
in different areas.
I think it's like a weird in between like you and Andy and other people where I'm at, is because over the last, I mean, people who listen to the show know, like, for a little while, I've kind of been implementing more management and kind of trying to put more quote unquote professional things in place of like employee handbooks and like more stern rules of like, this manager's in charge of you. Like, for a while, everybody was kind of in charge of their own thing. And I had that mentality of like, you're an adult, you should know, like, this is what you're paid for. This is your task. But that's why I said, like, you're supposed to be, because in reality, they're not. Like, they get greedy, or they get drama, or they get whatever. And then they feel like they have to, just be pissy about other people doing things. You know what I mean? Like, it's not even their job at all, but they see somebody else doing something and they're like, I work 10 times harder than that person, and why aren't they doing this? And it's just like,
yeah, we had that. It
gets toxic and it gets to be a thing. And it's like, one of the discussions we had in the car yesterday going to visit shops was, it sucks. We've known these people and whatever, but if we're going to come up with these things to make the shop better for the future, and the things that we're changing are better for everybody, if somebody's going to be like a bad egg about it, like, we kind of need to talk to them and be like, hey, this is what we're doing going forward. And like, you're either on board or you're not.
Yeah.
Like, if you're not,
we have I totally agree. We have a really fun environment, and it's cool, and people love it. And outsiders look in, they're like, what you guys do is cool. You're lucky to have that job, saying that to like somebody that works here or something like that. And then there are times where like we have this one girl where things weren't being done right. They weren't being done on time. And we had to have that talk. And I was talking to Brooke. Brooke's been here forever. And it was like, this is the part that I don't like, is when you have to be the boss.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
You just have to, like, we had to like set her down and be like, I'm going to fire you if you can't do this. Like, you're cool. And, we like having you here, but at the end of the day, this is a business, and these things have to be done.
Right.
And
it's like, I love your conversation, and I love that we can talk about like dick and fart jokes. And it's like, I like you as a person, but like, I don't like you enough to pay you $20 an hour for that conversation. You know what I mean? Like, you're not getting anything done.
That's pretty good. That would be so when, I was an artist. I love printing, and then ending up running a business in a shop. Like, I'm learning the business now, because like, that's not what I want to do overall. I just want to make cool stuff. Mm-hmm. So we ended up what we call like the idiot signs. That's where like, they put warning labels on stupid things because people have done that stupid thing. Right. So you end up with these signs around your shop. They're like, please don't wash your butt in the sink, or something like that. Like, it's just whatever, like we have to create total signs with instructions on like what sponges to use and reclaim. It's like, please don't use the emulsion and the degreaser sponges. Like, don't put the emulsion sponge into the degrease bucket. And it's just,
do you
like,
think
that I didn't know I couldn't do that? I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't.
Yeah.
Do you think that as small business owners, like our main role is really just HR, like an HR. I wouldn't say, I think that's, I don't like looking at it like that. I hear you. Sometimes it feels like that, but really our main role, our most important role anyway, as we grow and our team gets larger, is HR. I mean, that's what's happened to me, because we're in limbo. We're stuck in that limbo land of we're too small to have, you know, a full-time HR staff here, a person here, you know what I mean? And so that becomes me. And just like you, I started, you know, there was only 2 people here when we opened, and I wanted to make cool shit, and we grew. Like, you know, that just happened. And some of it wasn't even intentional. We just grew, and you do that because you have more orders and you buy another press, and maybe you don't even know how big you want to be. But my point is that I think at some point we all of a sudden become this HR person, and that's like the most important thing. You know, if we're not very good at that, then our company's going to suck. And so I had to learn it, because I wasn't very good at it. You know?
Yeah. I think the problem for me arose kind of like where he's at, is like, at first you're hiring people that you know, or your friends know, or your friends or whatever, and everything's cool because you all get along and you all have like common goals and you kind of want to do the same thing. But it's when you start hiring like random people off the street that like
strangers.
Strangers. Like you're taking, you've depleted your pool of people that you know that could work there. And then you start bringing in random people, and then you're like, okay, well, you know, my friends and stuff around here, we can say the crudest fucking most awful shit to each other in love. And then someone else just is off the street that like we're trying to train, and then they hear us saying stuff like that, and it's not cool anymore. And then eventually you have to like be like, all right, well, we're all grown-ups and we can do this stuff, but like maybe we need to be a little more professional with this, or a little more professional with this. And then you end up with like 5 or 10 people that are not your close friend group, but are employees. And then it's kind of like, oh shit, well, they know that I think that this is a bad thing, or this is a rule that they shouldn't break, but the random people off the street don't know that. So then you have to make, like I said, like an employee handbook that's like, hey, this is the do and a don't. And
without that, you can be in big trouble. A shop we know, a friend of ours, just had somebody resign. They came in, put in their 2 weeks, and they asked for all of their unused sick pay, all of their unused vacation pay, and pay for all of the holidays for the rest of this year. And you're like, time out, you know, and unless you have that spelled out, then what happens? You know, like, are you legally responsible to pay all those things? You know, like it's tough. And so at some point you have to say, wait a second, you know, I'm exposed here financially and legally, and I guess I have to go do that thing, even though like that's the last thing I want to do. Like that's so boring. And so like, you know, you hate it. Like I want somebody else to handle that. That's what we need, is we need like a service that just comes in and fucking takes care of it. So you don't.
Yeah.
That'd be sweet.
John, have you had anybody there yet who's worked there long enough that's kind of gone through the printer's curse, like a burnout, where they just get to the point where they think they know more than other people and they're just bitter? And
that's me.
You're just at that point continuously.
Yeah, that's like the state I live in. Actually, the main girl who's printing here right now was my boss at the last shop.
Nice.
And we both left, and I brought her in. My brother, he had cancer, and over last year he got really bad, and I had to be in Tennessee a lot to be with him before, you know, he was gone. And she was the only person I trusted, so I was like, Crystal, will you run this while I'm, you know, away? Yeah, I've got too much going on. I can't do it. And that was the only person I trusted. And she's been here about a year now, and she's fantastic. Like, she's late. She, you know, takes a lot of smoke breaks. And it's just the only person that smokes in the shop. And I'm always like, please don't make this shirt smell like cigarette. That's so gross. But she's the only person I know that like has the critical like I do, like it's just really critical and like picky about everything. Like she started in like flat stock, and then we both worked for a SciTech, and we've worked with like emulsions and the EOMs, and doing like really high detail screens for the medical and circuit boards and all that kind of stuff. So like when if in theory, we don't do it here, but if I were like, would the screen needs to be on like this mesh and it needs to be 2 millimeter or something like that, she could hit that. Like she's just really good with all that.
It's really
stuff.
good to have somebody like that in charge of printing.
She's also just a fucking workhorse. Like I have a lot of trouble like keeping up with her. Like she's like, you got anything else? By like 6 hours in, she's like, you got anything else? I'm like, dude, I can't keep up with you. There's only like 30,000 people in this town, man. How many shirts do you think we're going to get? Like, she's a workhorse.
Yeah. It's funny. I was with, we were sitting down at this hole in the wall place for dinner yesterday, after we went and visited, Cold Cuts, and Jon was with us, and we were talking about stuff, and we kind of brought that up. We started talking about, being an owner, and the worst part is, dealing with people and delegating people. 'Cause that's something that just like I'm going through right now as an owner, is this whole restructure thing and people and whatever. And he made like a really good analogy that like kind of resonated with me, and I kind of wanted to share it, which it was, and I don't think he even thought about like that he was like being profound in any way, but he was just talking to me about it. And he was like, I feel like managers or your employees kind of like, if they like, your job is to basically get people in that you trust, that you can delegate work to, that they're going to take care of it. Kind of like you're talking about the girl that's with you. But like, you need to make sure that that manager can delegate as well, and not just take on everything and be that person that thinks that they're the only person that can do that. You know what I mean? And then they get to the point, which, like I said, we've always talked about it here, is like, we call it the printer's curse, where like, 5-6 years in, they always get bitter, and they always just get like, the new guys that come in are your shit and whatever. And then you ask them like, did you talk to the new person? Did you tell them like, hey, this is this is how I do it. This is a little bit better of a way to do it. And they're always like, no. And it's like, well, how the fuck are they supposed to know that like they're not doing it the right way? You're just being a dick. And it's like, he's like, it's kind of like they're wearing a backpack. You know what I mean? Like, you give them a task to do, or the shop has a general task, and they put it in the backpack. And then the weight of the backpack on them is at a certain point. And then every time new things come in or new projects come in, they just keep adding it to the backpack. And then eventually the backpack is so heavy that they're just like bitter and delusional, and just like, they're like, this place would be fucked without me, blah, blah, blah mentality. And then it just gets to be the point where you just have to like let them go to get the backpack off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
I think I want to have a different approach to the way that we handle things here and the way that we treat people here, because I've had that backpack for so long. Like every shop I've been at, that's been me. I've worn that backpack, and I know what it's like, and I don't want to do that to people.
Yeah. So I think that's something that like I'm coming to terms with, is like, between me and my key people, is like, we need to make sure that like we're delegating things to people who are capable, and it's not all on one person. It shouldn't be all on one person. And that's like me learning and visiting shops and all this other stuff. It's kind of like when we talk to Tony, and like part of that method for me is the whole rotation method with him, where it's like, yeah, you might have a backpack in one area, but when you go to another department, you're unloading that backpack and you're starting over. And then eventually you have enough knowledge with everything, and you can see who's good at these tasks, that you can kind of delegate everything to be like, okay, you're really good at this, you deal with this and whatever. It's not like one person has to do all the tasks.
I feel like we're early enough, and I'm sure you guys have been here as well. Like, everything's been on my plate. And one of the hardest things to learn was to let go of what I do. And like,
I fully understand that.
Knowing that I can trust these people. Like, just here, this is like too much for me at this time. Like I have all this art to do. I have to, deal with these emails. Please do this. And then finding somebody that you're like, I trust them. This is going to be okay.
I think it's, like it's your business. You're invested financially and emotionally, and it's your reputation and all those things. And so, you make sure that you do your best, and then to delegate that and to find somebody that also cares. There's people are out there. There definitely are. We found a ton of them. And if it weren't for them, actually, the last, I would say at least month, I have only been here half days and some not even at all because of my back issue. And if I didn't have, because I used to be just like you, I had this backpack and I probably had 10 backpacks and I was doing everything.
Sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, I'd say that I didn't mind it because I liked, action packed days, it was fun and to do all these different things. But I think that it slows you down, like with the analogy anyway, that slows you down. You can't grow. And if you were to become injured or sick or whatever, then you're fucked, because who's going to run the shop? And so I think that that's a growing pain that once you do get on the other side of it, you become a lot happier inside. You fear it, like you're like, wait, I don't know how I'm going to do it.
Yeah,
it is. Right.
Then I think over the last year when I had to be in Tennessee a lot and leave the shop, that was the first time in like 5-6 years that I just straight up left for a while. And that was the turning point of knowing that it'll be
realizing.
Okay.
Yeah.
I need those people. Like, like you said, when you start to grow, when you bring those people in, you actually grow. Like so much more happens that like, I don't have to be on the press for 8 hours. And then when I'm actually talking to people and being cool and hanging out with customers, and they're like, building the relationships that you need to get these orders in, we got more orders because I wasn't on the press ignoring everybody.
I think the other part of it too is just realizing, coming to terms that you're not as good as you think you are. Like, I had the mentality early on that like, that whole, like, if you want it done right, do it yourself thing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then everybody's like, oh, you're not going to do this as good. Let me show you how I do it. Let me show you how I do it. And then you finally hire somebody for a position. Like you as an owner take that breath of like, I fucking have to hire somebody for this. I can't do it anymore. Like I need to at least try it. And then you get them in that position. You realize that they're doing it way fucking better than you were doing it in the first place.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're like, oh shit, you thought of this, or you organized this way, or you found a method that makes this way more efficient than I never would have thought of. And that's when you come to the realization of like, who can I get to do things in other departments? Because like if this person rolls at this, then there's gonna be more people out there that are good too. So I don't know.
It's definitely cool. I mean, this started in our like basement on like, I couldn't even afford like Riley Jr. I think like my mom gave me some like press you probably found on Amazon, not the blue one. This is like a single color black that you couldn't hit the same, like you couldn't hit the same spot twice. Once you lifted the screen, that shirt was done. Yeah, no, it was over. And like, I think we did like one order or like, I don't know, before we were like, this is awful. This isn't going to work. And then every dollar that we've ever made has gone back into the place. So I think within like a month or 2 months or something like that, everything that we've made from selling like really crappy, like one pass, Gildan shirts, like we bought like a Riley Jr. 4-color, and then that was like, this is getting kind of nuts. And then like they were getting heat pressed because I couldn't afford, a conveyor.
Were you starting off with printing orders for other people, or were you starting off with the kind of stuff that you're known for, of like the Richmond tees?
Both.
Both?
Friends, bands. It's mostly, I've been in music for a long time, so bands. It was just like, they need shirts, man. Yeah, I'll do them like $4 each or whatever.
It's just
like
back
when like Gildans were like less than $1 each, so
the good old days.
So much.
So how did you get into the whole making funny shirts, basically?
I was always told you always hear you have to find your niche, and that was kind of weird to figure out. I feel like we just made one instead of finding one. We just made one. I don't know. This place is weird. It's a messed up small little town. We're in between Dayton and Indianapolis, and there's a massive highway that goes through it. So we have all this population and all this craziness that comes through the highway. And then there's this small podunk Indiana town stuck dead in the center. It's weird. We have an insane asylum here. Jim Jones went to our high school. Jim Jones' wife, the cult leader's wife, she's buried 4 blocks from my house. It's just weird stuff. For such a podunk little weird town. So
yeah. It's just funny thinking about your stuff. Christina brought up, she's he's kind of like the opposite of Rockford Art Deli, where Jared's let's build up this town. Let's all his designs are I love it here. And then I look at yours and it's just I wrote down some of my favorites, but the shirts are just so.
Well, everybody here has a bad attitude. Nobody loves it here.
But it's the thing is, it's kind of that.
We're not trying to be derogatory. We don't, we're not, trying
right. But that's what I'm saying. It's kind of like the same thing of me and my friends. We talk shit to each other because we love each other, and they realize that it's just they want that because that's what it is. It's not like I would walk up to my best friend and be like, you look great today. You're such a handsome devil. I'd rather be wow, you look like fucking hot garbage today. And then flip them the bird and walk by. They know that to me is more important than the other thing. So you poking fun at your town is just lighthearted love of where you're from, but it's also just funny.
We also try to use it as a position to address issues that just are completely ignored. We have a city that's been run by the same handful of old people forever, and they're well, we've done everything here for the last 50 years and it hasn't worked, and we don't see any reason to change that now. So it's there's a new generation coming up, and people my age and in their 40s and whatnot are moving into higher positions and getting those jobs, and this old guard just fights us so hard. And we love it. We love fighting with them.
Isn't it going to be, I know you want to read those, but isn't it going to be weird when you're the old guard and then there's another new generation or whatever it is, and they're you're the asshole. It won't change.
I can't wait. I can't wait. I've always wanted to be the angry old man in the front yard.
Oh yeah, hell yeah. Yep. It's gonna be me for sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of how my stepdad is, which is funny because you go to their house and he put up my parents' house. They have the house and then they have rental properties near there, but they share the same driveway. He put up fucking speed limit signs in the driveway and speed bumps and shit. It's dude, you're just being a dick at that point. It's your own driveway. I don't know. It's funny, but so that took off. You started making them and it took off, and you kind of run with it now. You have a retail spot in there, right, where people can come in and buy that stuff.
Yeah, we do. And a lot of times we'll keep the good ones stocked. But when things happen here so fast, we had some dude just went into Walmart, got onto a motorized scooter, grabbed a 12-pack out of the aisle, and then just rode around the store drinking the 12-pack, throwing the cans down. And he got arrested for it. But things like that happen so fast here that we have no interest in fast fashion or anything like that. But it seems like that's an area that we got put into. So we'll create a mock-up. We'll put it online. If it sells, I'll burn a screen. That's why, we don't just do single colors, but we kind of got hit for it, and known. That's just, man, nobody's going to remember this next week. I'm not doing 4 colors. I'm not burning 4 screens for this.
Yeah.
You get one color.
Too much effort into it.
Yeah. And we could sell 1 or we could sell 100. It's a gamble. You never know which shirt's going to take off.
Well, it's funny. I was reading one of them and it was saying something some lady in your town got arrested for flashing people as they went by.
Yeah.
And then I was scrolling through it and the shirt just says Newcastle cops hate tits.
Yeah.
I was
yeah.
I was this is the best shirt ever.
What are some other ones?
I was waiting for a callback from that one. It was like there was one. It was a year ago, 2 years ago, or something like that. This kind of like was a big spark in it. We were up at like maybe around midnight or something like that. Somebody stole a street sweeper and they were racing it around town at like 5 miles an hour, and the cops couldn't stop this guy. It went on for about 2 hours, and everybody in Richmond was outside like watching and listening. He was just going up and down the main road, and like the cops couldn't stop this dude. So we had a shirt up.
How can you not stop a dude on a street sweeper?
Yeah, you'd have to ask them. So like we had a shirt up and available and ready on our website before he was arrested. And everyone's like, you guys are so fast with this. So people start sending us links of like, yo, this happened. Yeah, you're going to do a shirt. And it's like, I don't really want to do a shirt about, like little Tommy getting a DUI. That's kind of dumb.
Right.
But yeah, people just send us everything now. Like everything that happens. That
was something else I saw on there. It was like, you're not shit unless Black Dog makes a shirt about you or whatever.
Oh yeah. We've done a good portion of the population, I think, by this point.
Some of my other favorites I saw on there was Indiana, the Alabama of the North.
We had a big debate in the shop of whether or not to go with Florida or Alabama, because both are up there.
Up there, yeah. Golden Corral. I'm trying to feel sick today. Yeah. That one made me laugh.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever eaten there, honestly. But
I went there once when I lived in Georgia, and it's one of those like you don't need.
I don't think it was necessarily us being like their food's gonna make you sick. It's like I'm gonna go there and just be fucking disgusting.
Oh, that's exactly what I thought of. The people who want to go to Golden Corral aren't like, oh, I want to go there for like fine cuisine. They're like, I'm gonna eat until I have diarrhea for 3 days.
It's quantity, not quality.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. And then
we haven't heard from them. We kind of expected to get a cease and desist from them on that one. We have to be kind of careful. I'm friends with an attorney, so she's kind of like who I call when like letters start coming in about stuff. I'm like, yo, should I be worried? She's like, just do what they say.
And then Richmond, now with less lead in our water.
Yeah.
So is that one of the ones where you're poking at something that is an issue that?
Yeah, nobody knew. So we were at the last shop. We just bought this building in May. So we were in like an 800 square foot room for like 4 or 5 years when we moved out of the basement. And that place is a shithole. That photo of that the paper used with a really shitty logo, like that was like as soon as we were out of the basement, we had no money, and like it was terrible. I think like we cut that vinyl on like a Cricut or some piece of shit, and like it was just a nightmare starting out. There was a crackhead like prostitute that lived above us, and she was always fighting and screaming, and our customers could hear her like going at it like while they're standing and like talking about placing an order for some, they could be a church. And I'm like, yeah, that happens. Sorry. And then I don't know. It's just.
Do you feel like that's building a community though? Like I know you're saying you have opposition, right? But you have opposition. So,
yeah, that's what you're asking. I got off point. I'm sorry. Like we were just standing in the shop, and this lady runs in and was like, "Hey," she had like water company shirt on. It's like, "You guys don't drink the water, do you?" And I was like, "We live here, yeah, of course." She was like, "We're replacing all the pipes because they're made out of lead." And I was like, "Shouldn't everybody know about that? Like that's kind of fucked up." And nobody knew that Richmond had lead pipes until last year. That probably explains why it's full of mutants. Just lead poisoning, generational lead poisoning.
Not funny, but funny at the same time. And
then when I bought the building, they came back and they made me sign a piece of paper that said I wouldn't sue them over having lead pipes and they would replace them. But if I did want to file or press anything, like then I was going to be responsible to replace all the pipes. So I was like, shit, I'll sign.
That's so shitty, like that, to put you in that position. It's like, I mean, not that you would want to sue them, but it's kind of like, hey,
did you poison my kid?
We'll do something nice for you if you're willing to not say that we did bad things to you.
Yeah. So I figured at least I have a platform where I can yell at them from.
Yeah. So talk about that a little bit more. I know you've gotten cease and desists, and you've got people at the town higher ups pissed at you about certain things.
One of my favorites, and that letter from the parks director came from, we made a really nice shirt, and it was like Richmond, Indiana. And it was a picture of like local parks at Springwood Park. It had like, and a nice image we created of like their front gates and everything like that. And there was nothing wrong or, bad about the shirt whatsoever. It was really nice. But at the bottom, it had, a web URL to Craigslist for misconnections for, gay hookups, because that's what happened there at night and everybody knew it. So like Denise didn't see that until like somebody pointed out, like, did you see what he put at the bottom of this? And they went to the link and it was like Craigslist misconnections for, and that's when things started to go off. And then the visitor center, we made like, I got my GED in Richmond, Indiana shirt. And I put the Twitter handle for the local visitor center on it. And so they were getting calls like, I put it on a couple of the shirts. Like, we got dog food because we have 3 dog food plants here. And I put their Twitter handle on the dog food shirt. So people were calling the visitor center and be like, I want that dog food shirt. Where do I get, can I come in and buy it today? And they're like, we don't do that. Those are idiots. Don't do that. And then that got us boycotted from the visitor center. The park shirts got us boycotted from the parks department. The Chamber of Commerce fights with us all the time that they don't like us. We had the mayor will come in and buy like the weird random Richmond shirts because he thinks they're funny. But it'll be like, man, we're in some like big business meeting or, the city council or whatever kind of meetings they have with the suits. And like, and you guys came up again. And I'm like, you guys can't attack a private business. Like, just let them do whatever. Next week it'll be something else and nobody will know.
Like legally they can't do anything, right? Like they can't, you're not using like any trademarks or anything, right?
Not that we found so far. We try to be kind of safe about it.
Yeah.
Like the cease and desist, we got one from Salt Life because we made the Salt Life logo, but it said Slut Life. And then we got this like long email chain of Brooke, our reception like girl, trying to get this like corporate guy from Salt Life to say slut, but he would not. And she was like, I'm really confused here. Which word is the issue? And Keith, his final email was just like, come on, guys. That's all he wrote back. It's like, we're like, all right, man, we took it down. We got one from Dare. Like, I didn't even know Dare was still a thing.
Yeah, I haven't seen that in forever.
Because we didn't even like sell these. We just made a bunch and we thought they were hilarious. And like, I think we're right under Michigan. So we know a bunch of growers. So it was like dispensaries are really expensive or I don't know, whatever dumb thing. And Dare demanded that we ship them all the unsold merch. I was like, no, I'm not going to do that. We took it off the website because
they wanted to sell them.
Yeah. We always kind of wondered, like the visitor center and the chamber, they're probably mad that we do better branding and we sell more merch for Richmond and we do a better job of it than they do.
Mm-hmm.
Like by far.
That makes sense.
I was going to say, I have a chatbot question and I think it's perfect. Like it fits in right now. And I asked it, what is punk rock? Because I think that, so I'll read this. And whenever I read.
That's all you asked it?
Yes. Yeah. And when I read it,
it's very
just
punk rock.
Substitute entrepreneur in place of punk rock, but I'm just going to read punk rock for now. Because I think it's the same thing. And so, especially for you. So punk rock is characterized by a rebellious and DIY ethos. At its core, being punk rock is about rejecting mainstream values, challenging authority, and expressing oneself through music, fashion, and attitude. Being punk rock is more than just a style or type of music. It's a mindset and a way of living. It's about questioning authority, rejecting conformity, and standing up for what you believe in. It's about being authentic and true to yourself, even if it means going against the grain. I think I think you have to have a little bit of that in you, that spirit, to go start a business and give it a shot. What do you think? You think that's true and accurate?
I think a lot of that's accurate.
Well, I mean, like, I started all this out of a lot of punk rock and, hardcore. We're playing in bands and we're like, we need merch. And then that just snowballs. And a lot of the DIY, the ethics and everything like that. Yeah. I hold a lot of those core values. So, yeah.
I think the DIY stuff and all that is relevant. I mean, obviously there's business owners that are pretty by the book, but I feel like more so, Jon, you kind of have the against authority part of that with the whole, what you're doing with the Richmond stuff. And you're kind of like bringing to light issues in town and whatever else. Not that necessarily you're trying to, but like you kind of are. So that definition is very you, I would say.
No.
What
else did you ask the AI, Andy?
That's all I did. So I have it up. If you want me to, I can ask it anything you want. But that's all I did for.
Ask it, Jon. Is there anything you want to ask it? Like something about Richmond that we could ask that AI about you?
Who's the most famous person out of Richmond, Indiana?
There you go.
Let's see if it's Jim Jones.
What was the whole Jim Jones thing? I don't know who he is.
Jim Jones, he was the Kool-Aid cult leader.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah. He went to high school here. He grew up here in the area. He met his wife here. And he worked at the hospital for a long time. And
did he do all the stuff there, or where did he do it?
No. He later moved. I think he moved to Indianapolis and then further out. And he ended up in South America or something like that with the cult. And then that's where they, drank the Kool-Aid and all died.
All because of those lead pipes, man.
Yeah, probably. But this was back in when was Jim Jones? Like the 60s or something like that.
The original lead pipes.
Yeah.
When they were fresh.
Yeah, he was a weird guy.
All right. Where is? Doesn't say anything about Jim Jones, but here's what we've got. So there have been several notable people from Richmond, Indiana. Said that weird, Indiana. But perhaps the most well-known is jazz musician and composer Hoagy Carmichael. Ever heard of him?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a statue of him down at IU in Bloomington. So we have one of the first recording studios that would actually record Black musicians here. And there was a lot of jazz and that stuff. But we also had the KKK recorded at the same studio around the same era as these jazz musicians. So Richmond's really big on we have brought in all these people. It was so inclusive. And I'm like, yeah, but you guys also brought the KKK in. So that's kind of weird, isn't it? And they're like, no, we don't talk about that. That we have the Star Piano Factory, which made really nice pianos. It was Jeanette Records, and they were one of the first companies to bring musicians in and record jazz and put out the records. And that's where the farmers market is at now, in the old warehouse that they had.
Are you focusing most of your business on Richmond? Are you trying to branch out with it?
We've gone over it a bunch. We've actually considered changing our actual commercial printing from Black Dog and disassociating it with the name, because we have a serious side, and we take it serious when we work with a lot of factories, we work with a lot of schools, we work with churches, and we have real jobs, and those are the ones that really pay our bills and salaries and everything. Yeah. And then we have our idiot stuff, and that's fun. That's where we get out of a lot of our idiot stuff and our ideas and whatever. It's kind of a balance between do we wear the suit today, or are we going to be punk rock?
Yeah. What do you think? What are you thinking? Are you thinking you're more on the side of making, because that makes sense to me, making a new name that's just for professionalism and printing?
It'll probably happen. I don't know. I don't know if we're there yet, but how far can we really push our idiot stuff without damaging, what actually pays us?
I mean, if you're getting consistently growing, then maybe you don't have to, as far as on the printing side. But if it kind of stalls out, that might be your problem.
Yeah. From what I've heard, and like actually having people come in and customers and everything like that, it's helped us because people think it's funny. A lot of it are just inside jokes, like the Milk House, we got that good ice, or whatever. It doesn't make any sense unless you're from here. And people are like, oh, I get it. They do have that good ice. I don't know.
What's new for you guys? What's the game plan for this year? Anything different than before?
We want to add embroidery because nobody around here does a reasonable job with it. And I hate outsourcing. If I don't have to outsource, I don't want to.
Right.
And we keep getting more and more demand for embroidery, and that's going to have to happen at some point.
Who's going to run it? You or you're going to get somebody else in there?
No, I'll have to learn it, I guess, but
he's gonna delegate. He's not gonna put that in his backpack.
No, I don't want that in my bag. Those are big machines. But I also we have zero debt with our entire business, aside from the building that we just bought. Like all our presses and everything like that, I just bought out of pocket because it's like I said, every dollar that I've ever made has gone back into this.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get an embroidery machine.
Getting the building.
Awful. That took a long time because the bank was like, you guys don't have any money and you don't have a job. It's like, well, I'm self-employed. I'm like, yeah, no. So it took a lot of convincing and showing like records of like, look, and then we have a good CPA, and I talked to her and she was like, you're going to hate it and it's going to suck, but I can fuck you up one good time. And then after that, you can go back to what you normally pay. But that one time it's going to hurt. And I was like, do it.
I had to do that exact same thing.
Yeah, dude. And the bank loan just happened to be at the exact same time taxes hit. So from our first meeting with this new bank, and they were the first bank that took us serious, actually talked to us, gave us a roadmap, and talked to us like people, because we went to like 3 other banks and they're like laughed at us. They're like, you guys are idiots. No. And this is the first bank that was cool with us and actually talked to us. And from the first time I talked to her, within 3 months, taxes hit and our CPA did what she did. And I went back and I was like, well, here are our numbers. And she was like, you're gold, let's go. And then it just happened really quick.
What was the building before?
Carpet and like wall damage, mold repair, stuff like that. It's part of this building was part of a larger company that had multiple buildings. And I think this was probably the offices is where they had like their phones and computers. And then, but they do like flood damage repair and stuff like that. I don't know.
Did you go into that with a business plan of like, hey, half's going to be print shop, half's going to be tattoo shop? Oh,
yeah. My wife and I, like, everything's always, she and I are like, I don't know, a weird duo. Like, I'm not going to do anything without her. And our slow period, like, we wouldn't have survived without one or the other. When she's dead and can't pay bills because there's nothing, when we were starting out, I might have something and I could cover everything, and vice versa. Like, starting out, it's hard, man. It's really scary and it's really hard. Like, when I quit my job, our families were like, are you're really going to quit and you're just going to do this? Like, when we decided to rent our first location, like, we're going to do this. And everyone's like, that's a really bad idea. And
until it's not, and then they come to you for stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Now I print all the decals for like a multi-million-dollar trucking industry. And like the president at that time was like, this sounds like a bad idea, John. I'm like, but I'm not scared, because if I fail, I go back to my old job or something. Yeah. Like, that's the worst. I don't care. Like, what's the worst that's going to happen is I fail. And then, I'll just start over something else.
If you don't try, you'll never know.
I'm not afraid to try. I'm not afraid to fail. I fail a lot. That's the big thing that I think a lot of people don't get, is like, this is hard and it's been a long road and I fucked up a lot. And it's just been a constant process of like trying to make your way towards like down this road, but you're just constantly walking straight into shit. And you're like, oh fuck.
Yeah. It's like I don't want to sound like a motivational speaker guy, but I feel like fail is just one of those things where the word just has a bad meaning, and when you hear fail, you automatically think bad. But realistically, it's not. There should be another word for it where it's like,
I got it. You succeeded in failing.
Yeah.
That's what I would tell my kid a lot.
If you guys are into art or anything like that, or even making music, you know, like you're gonna make a million bad paintings before you get that one that's gonna.
Right.
People are gonna be like, "That's really good."
What you're learning? You're learning what not to do.
Oh yeah. No, it's been a fun one.
That's what I told just last night. My wife, she has been at home for almost 3 weeks now in her studio every single day. And she has hit like this wall. She's trying to creatively, she's like stuck, right? And she's trying to break through. And I'm like, look, like, so what if you paint 100 paintings and they all suck? But then maybe the 101st one is what you wanted. Like that's where you needed to be, or that's where you want to be anyway. And it took all of these other ones to get there. And who cares if that's in a month or if that's in 6 months? Like, doesn't matter, because once you're there, you found it, you know? And so don't force it, because that's the worst thing to do. Take a deep breath and just go down there and do it every day until you find what you're looking for, you know? And it's okay if you fail. We'll take the 100 paintings and we'll just throw them in a dumpster. But then, because you'll then have that one that you were looking for.
Failure is a big part of it, and it's going to happen. It's quitting. That if that's where some people's road's just going to end with that.
Yeah.
I was also going to say, I have one of the original shirts. I think it was probably from the first run that you guys did.
Probably the plastisol ones.
There was plastisol on a really thin bell canvas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm slacking on that too, because I've had shirts printed for a while now that are my mom does my digitizing, and I just have a box sitting here that I haven't put them up yet.
I thought you were going to go into like Hanson's printing. Like I love his phone calls. I like Nate.
Yeah.
Like,
he's
he and I
part
talk
of the inspiration on that. Yeah.
We should collab with you, Jon, with like, because there's shirts we want to do all the time that come up, just something funny happens on the show or whatever. And you have like this perfect way of making a t-shirt or a saying. Yeah. Like, so
the weird part is it's just our humor. Like, that's just how we talk around here, like to each other in the shop. It's just this deadpan sarcasm with like, a bit of weirdness.
I got a listener question here for you on that. It says, Squeegee Prince Juan says, which tee was the most offensive and did it sell well?
The most offensive one that was probably it was a silhouette of like a politician standing at a podium, and it said, "The senator's mistress will always have access to safe abortion." And we sold that during the Trump period, and I think I made $10,000 in 4 days off of that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
How do you put those up to market it?
That bought our first press. We didn't market. We didn't do anything. It was all
you just posted on Instagram or on Facebook.
We put it on Facebook, and it just went. And it was a sticker, actually. The sticker bought our first, the first crappy press I had, and it's not crappy. It was like a four station 6 color BWM Hopkins, and like it's still back there. Like it rarely gets used at this point because it's been beat to hell. I mean, it's from like 2002 or something like that. But that sticker that bought that press.
Is there anything else that
got us to where we are now?
Is there anything else that you do as a shop, or it's just like your ethics or whatever that is part of the town that you're known for? Or
we get yelled at a lot because Taro works a lot with like sex workers and like a lot of like different industries like e-girls and stuff. We do a lot of stuff and collaborations with e-girls and all that kind of stuff because it's just a weird area that nobody else is touching. So it's open. And so we give away free Plan B, like no questions asked. Our Planned Parenthood is gone. The clinics here are terrible. So we give away like free pregnancy tests, free condoms, free Plan B, just whatever, no questions asked.
Just like in your shop and in the tattoo shop, or just they walk in?
No, they're just all sitting out in the lobby, man. And anybody that needs something can come in and just grab it. And we do that through, pretty much like private donations of people.
Right. Is that something that's advertised that you have, or is it just like a word of mouth? Like, hey, they have some stuff.
We'll post about it every so often. We want people to know it's there for them if they need it. If they have no other option, then that's a better solution.
Yeah, I get it. Do you have any shop hacks or questions for us?
I asked you this question a while ago, and I'd ask it again, man. Like when you were, I think I asked you this on Alan and Alan House show with Marshall. I'm trying to remember. It was a while ago. How did you go from having a press, having maybe a building or something, or as kind of the space, and then turning that into a legit business? Like I've always felt like I'm in this weird zone of like this limbo of like, are we a legit business? People think we are, but I don't feel like that. Like, I don't know. I've heard your stories about like, yeah, you don't dress up and then you're walking over to these big corporate, like football offices and having big meetings. And it's like, so how do you go from like an idiot in his garage to actually having staff and employees and payroll and like Andy said, HR? It's because I've worked in so many shops and I'm like, did these just always exist? Like, I don't even like these guys. And they're dumber than I am. Why? Like, how do they do this? Why do they have all this money?
I actually talked about this with a friend the other day, and it's funny. Like, this is kind of like a personal thing, a vulnerable thing, I guess. Of like, I kind of grew up poor, and always had this feeling of like, when you're the kid that you want your parents to drop you off in their shitty car that has no muffler, like a block before your friend's house, so that you can like get out and walk into your friend that lives in a nice house in the suburbs house and shit like that. Like I kind of had that mentality for a long time of like, I had hand-me-downs or I had this or whatever. And then your whole life, you kind of are like, I'm slightly not good enough to be here. You know what I mean? Or why am I here kind of feeling. And then I feel like for a long time in business, it was kind of like that, where I would go into a meeting or I would try to, do something or go to like a chamber of commerce. Like I ended up getting on the board and whatever. And I don't do that shit anymore. But like, I always felt like when I walked, I don't think I'm allowed talking. Yeah. Well, I always felt like walking into a room, because I'm not one that's going to like dress up for somebody else. Like literally what I'm wearing right now is what I would wear to like,
I don't own khakis. I own like 2 pairs of jeans.
Right. If you invite me to a wedding, it's going to be like my normal ass clothes. But like for the longest time, I always felt like that little kid where you walk in and you like give your, I could help you with this, or I could do this. And you get that feeling that they want to like pat you on the head and be like, okay, go away. Like, thanks for coming kind of thing. But I feel like that was
us. Yeah. Asking for the loan.
I just feel like you get to a certain point where you're just like, fuck them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you get to a point where you're just like, you know what? I look back sometimes and like, I have this business like you where I have no debt. I have this building that I own that I fixed up. I have, 10 to 15 employees.
It's gorgeous.
Right. Like I have 10 to 15 employees that I pay, and like they pay to like have their families live, and like they have mortgages and all this other stuff. So it's like at a certain point, you're just like, I'm not that little vulnerable kid, like I'm doing what I'm doing and I love it. And there's people out there that are fucking, the people that I thought that I had to like impress are actually the people who hate their lives, that like go to their office job and they're like, this fucking sucks. Like, to a degree, I think that they wish they were me. You know what I mean? Like they wish that they could just do fun shit and hang out with their friends and be like, oh, it's slow today. Let's play Gears of War for 4 hours. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah. I think
I just need to accept that at some point where I'm just like, who gives a shit? Like, fuck them. Like, I'm just doing what I want to do.
And then my other question, I guess, if I can ask Andy or as well, you can answer.
Let Andy answer.
how have you ever felt about imposter syndrome, or how have you ever handled that? Because I remember the first time that I had a check come in for like $10,000, and I was like, "Oh fuck, dude, I'm not set up for this. Like, this is outrageous." And now it's like normal, But I'm like, no, you don't give me that, man. Like that's a bad idea.
Tell me, define imposter syndrome again. Tell me what that is exactly.
Just like you feel like you have to show face, or you have to act like you're smart enough, or you're capable enough to do the things that people are paying you to do.
Like you're a poser, like you're faking.
This says a psychological occurrence in which an individual doubts their skills, talents, or accomplishments, and has persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. It's just kind of like, I don't know, man. Like,
well, it's like the example like you were saying of walking into,
you're just like,
yeah, like me walking into the football or the baseball stadium and acting like I was capable of doing their business.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I had a fucking 4-color manual in the garage, and I was asking the New York Mets to print their shirts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, Andy, you have a shop that I've looked up to, and like I've followed you, like you have this cool stuff and everything. And it's like, did he ever like start out in the I don't know if you started out with like just the crappy Amazon press in a garage like 20 years ago or anything like that. But like, was there ever a point where like people started coming in and like you were paying people and you're like, I'm taking care of these people, and I'm an idiot. Like, this is, I don't know.
Yes, I started in a garage. I built my first press. So it was worse than any Amazon press because I wasn't very good at building it. But I think that it taught me, what I didn't want out of a press and what I did want. And so it was a good like thing I did. I've never cared. I'm a weird kid. I think I was a weird kid. I am a weird kid.
Yeah.
My dad died when I was real young, and I was not very good at a lot of things, but I didn't ever care, like what other people thought. And I don't know why that was. I've never really cared so much. And I think that I wasn't confident at all. And when I was younger, and it was mostly because I didn't have a dad, like other kids, they all had dads. And that was, when I went and spent the night at people's houses and stuff, it was such a trip to see like that family dynamic. And so I always felt like less than, but at some point, I don't know when it was, I think it was probably when I got my ass kicked one day in school, because this was before there was bullying hotlines, you just got beat up. And so I think I got my ass kicked, and I had a stepdad at that time, and he enrolled me in Taekwondo, or took me to Taekwondo classes. And I don't know, it gave me some confidence, And so I figured out that like, I'm just this average guy, and if I have a problem in front of me, I'll figure it out. And I'll maybe, sort of like you said earlier, I won't maybe get it right the first time and I'll fail, but eventually I'll just get it right. And so I approach everything like that, even now. And so the imposter syndrome is like, okay, well, I remember when we started, we needed to get a credit card machine, and I didn't deserve one. Like, I don't know, I'm going to run people's credit cards here and stuff. Like, that's crazy thought, like that's huge responsibility. I don't want their credit cards and numbers and all that kind of stuff. But I went and got it, and I just faked it. I was like, hey, I need this.
No, faking it has been like such a huge thing here. Like, people don't know like how, I don't know. When we first started out, and it was like, Riley Junior Press and everything like that, I never posted photos of our shop. I never posted photos of the location, because I always wanted to present, like I wanted the customer to be like, wow, these guys are big and they're doing cool stuff. And I'm like, nah, it's just an idiot back here with like a heat press. It
was like when
Union from like 30 years ago.
When I had the button company, merch buttons, when I first started, the first company I did, people thought I had like a real business, a warehouse, like I had all these parts and employees and everything. It was me and my my wife's parents' basement on a futon doing the emails and orders. And then I hired Chris, my best friend, to press the buttons on a manual one, hand lever button maker. But he was doing it on a piece of plywood in the back of his Astro van in the parking lot of college because he lived in the van and at Syracuse instead of having a dorm. So like, how do you tell people that that's how your business is operating? Like,
I think that there's people that would love that and support you, because
that's
like
been the thing is like being open and honest about kind of like letting people see into that window. Mm-hmm. They've loved it. And, we've always found with social media, like you have to be yourself and present yourself, and people want a story. They follow the story. They've watched us start from the basement. They've seen us grow. They saw us buy this building. They saw us buy like nice presses, and they've seen us like upgrade dryers and do all this cool stuff. And they've liked watching that journey.
Well, they like ordering from you and helping you grow that, you know what I mean? Because like if you're
those are the vital customers that keep us alive. And those are the relationships that we have to maintain regardless.
Right. But we don't realize that when it's happening. Like you said, like you didn't want to show that stuff off then because you didn't realize that.
I still talk to my old boss from a side tech a lot. And every so often I'll call him up because like he was the professional that I would look up to. I was like, I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but he does. And so I'd call him up and I'd be like, man, this is just a nightmare. Like everything is like awful. And this person is insanely stupid and I don't want to deal with it. And he's like, you just got to remember, they pay your bills. I'm like, yeah, right. That sucks. You're like, yeah, I'll redraw that JPEG. That's fantastic. And I'll give you 6 revisions. That's even better. I love it. Yeah, no, like I just did one order. It wasn't anything. It was like 25 shirts or something like that. I did 5 revisions because they couldn't find the right PMS for cream color. And they wanted me to make up all these mock-ups to show them different side-by-sides of the different shades of cream. And I was like, you're not giving me a specific PMS. I got a can of ink back there that says like flesh on it or something like that. And that's what I'm going to use, man. Like, regardless of what you tell me or what you say. Like, and
whatever digital mock-up you make them, the ink color is probably not going to come out to be like perfectly to them anyway. So.
Trying to explain what a vector is to anybody like that's not in in the game or like, it's so insane when you're like, they go over and over and over this digital mock-up and I'm like, it's not real. That is not a real t-shirt. I have not physically made that. I cannot give it to you. You can look at it in an email. That's as far as it's going to go, man. Mm-hmm. My favorite thing ever is like getting that PDF named Vector that's got a JPEG in it. I love those.
It's the best. Or when it's got the transparent background, but it's actually just like a screenshot of a transparent background.
Yeah. But like we have on our order form, like I need help with my artwork. I have a crappy JPEG or I have a PNG or I have a full-fledged vector. People always click, I have a vector, and it's never a vector.
It's a little surprise for you. That's what they want.
Oh yeah. I know that.
All right.
They pay the bills.
Quick dates. I'm ready.
Go ahead.
I always forget them first. I need to remember that. We've done this.
That's why I say go ahead and you wait like 10 seconds.
All right. Night in or night out?
For me, as far as like what I do with myself.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a kid. I don't go out. I don't talk to people. This is like coming to work. That's my day. And then afterwards I go home and I'm a dad.
You hit up Golden Corral on the way home?
Oh yeah, you love it. I could just put my head in the trough.
Something random that brings you joy.
Winning an argument on Facebook.
Are you a Facebook troll? Like, do you enjoy?
No, I'm not overall, but we're controversial. We're weird, and like what we do, so it's inevitable. I try to avoid it. I don't want to fight. But
there's some people that
we get people that just come onto our page and are like, y'all go to fucking hell, you fucking fuck you. And it's just like, I hope your business fails and all this shit. And it's like, all right, man, I'm going to fuck you up real quick. But
okay.
All right. Something from your childhood that has contributed to your success.
my brother. I was a fuck up my entire life. Like, I was in bands. I lived in a van. My mom could never find me. So she made me, like, she bought me my first cell phone, like in 2014 or 15, because nobody knew where I was half the time. And like, my brother graduated high school, went straight into college, got married, and like did everything right. Like, that you're, told that you're supposed to do, whatever. I'm not saying that's right or wrong. I'm just saying, like, he followed the rules, and he was a strong, honest, sincere motherfucker. And he gave me something to look, live towards.
Right. Inspired.
My little brother was like a better role model than I was.
Anything that you're reading, watching, or listening to right now that you really like?
Season 11 just came out on Division 2, and that's about it. Because I'm an idiot, and that game's been awful for so long, and I just can't quit.
So video games at night, is that your thing? Is that your...
Yeah, no, as soon as the kid goes to sleep, I'll game for a while with some friends. And then, I built a website that we have from the ground up. Like, so it's going in, fixing stuff or doing something on that. Like, I'm up until 4 a.m, redoing artwork, just whatever needs to be done computer wise before the day starts. I'm going to get it done. As far as reading, I think Junji Ito. I have a whole collection of Junji Ito stories that I'll pick up and keep next to the bed.
What are those?
Is it what?
What's it about?
Junji Ito. It's a horror manga. Like, just this Japanese dude that just writes really fucked up shit.
It's good to read right before bed.
Yeah, I'm pretty twisted. My brain don't work no right.
Andy?
Yeah. So final question. What's for dinner?
I live with 2 vegetarians and I'm not a vegetarian. So the menu is like, oh God, I hate this game. But every night, man, it's the what's for dinner game. So probably fettuccine, because that's easy. Everybody will eat it, and you can add a protein or remove it, and it's still delicious. With
do you ever go overboard, like
bread.
Because they don't eat meat? You're just like, here's a shitload of meat, like not in front of them.
No, not so much, but like birthdays or something like that. Like my dad's gonna just throw down with like 2-inch steaks, and just we're gonna grill out all day. Something
That's
like
hard.
that.
Yeah. Andy, what are you doing? Well, it's early for us, so it's lunchtime. So what are you getting for lunch?
Oh,
You got a mac and cheese, don't you?
close. No, better. Ta-da.
What is that?
And we
A
eat a lot
ramen
of
bowl?
that. Yeah.
Yep. Ramen
My
bowl.
kid found out she likes those. So like that made life so much easier. When your kid figures out like they have a food that they pick that they like, your life gets so much easier.
Right, because you could just buy a shitload of it and just leave it there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well,
My
thanks,
kid's
John.
really picky.
Oh yeah, all kids are.
No, thank you guys, man. Yeah, no. Thank you guys. Like, I've looked up to you guys, and this is an honor. It was cool. Thanks to Christina.
I love what you guys are doing, and keep it up. Keep fucking poking fun at people.
I'm not gonna stop.
I like seeing them, so it's good. It's good for me too. But
Yeah.
have a good rest of your day, man. We appreciate you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Thanks,
thanks,
John.
dude.
See you.
Yeah, thanks,
Later,
Andy. Yep.